When we're secondary machining using the vertical milling machine, we need to choose our cutting tools, and we have a range of choices depending on what we're trying to achieve. So if I talk you through some of the essential kit that we may be using in engineering, we have a range of different diameters of cutters for making different sizes of slots and profiles. This is an end mill. This would be about 6 mil end mill, I think this is. So that would cut a 6mm slot or a 6mm profile. You'd probably just use that for fine detail work or cutting channels into materials, not for leveling off big areas. It would take you too long. Probably be not very accurate and neat either. And then we have a different range of slot drills. So slot drill, you've got two cutting flutes here and an upcut spiral, so it's going to remove the swarf in a vertical direction. Now look, here's an essential part of every cutting tool. It has its own collet. So a collet is a kind of clamping device for a cutting tool that only ever works with one diameter cutting tool. And the idea here is you screw the cutting piece into the back. The collet fits inside a drawbar that's in the milling machine itself. And then we have a system that pulls that shank up, and you can see the taper, slight taper on here, and there are 3 little gaps in between where the sprung collet goes, and that pinches down really tightly onto the cutting tool and centers it really nicely as well. So there you are, that's a slot drill. That diameter of that slot drill looks like about 10 mil to me, and then we've got bigger slot drills, so that slot drill there would be probably about 20 millimeters diameter. Again, see, look, it'll have its collet that matches the size of it. Screw it in, same process inside the chuck of the vertical miller, and then we can use that drawbar to pull the collet or the ring around the collet up to force this slot to close and pinch down for the cutting tool. And then there's a slightly bigger end mill there, look, so you've got 4 cutting teeth on your end mill, and that'll be fitting into a collet about this size, look, to be able to use. So these are our things for cutting slots and profiles. And then sometimes what we like to do is flatten large areas of material. And a very convenient tool for doing that is a thing called a fly cutter. So the fly cutter is a piece of very hard cobalt steel, ground to a precise point there on our precision grinding tool, pinched in place with some grub screws. And what we do with that, so when he's in his collet like that, is he will spin around and he'll sweep out a really big arc. So he'll flatten big areas really effectively. And you get other kind of profile cutters that can be used. If you're going to use that on a vertical miller, it might be the sort of tool that you might see used on a horizontal miller, but we don't use horizontal millers in school. So there you are, range of cutting tools, all made out of high-speed steel, or in some instances like your trick alloy steel, such as cobalt steel. Most of the time for the cutting jobs that we need to do, we're going to stick with a 6mm slot drill we're going to use, okay?